Okay, so I just finished the setup for the tablet and I'm just gonna show you guys what it looks like and share some initial thoughts. I haven't actually drawn anything yet. It took me a little while to figure out how to record the screen because I had to set it up for a new laptop. But alright, so I'm just gonna do some quick first impressions for actually using the display, and as it turns out, the glove is indeed too big, so I can't really use it. I think it would just get in the way, and my hands usually get sweaty when I draw anyways. But yes, so the pen is a little bit thick. It's thicker than the one I have, which is this one. This is the one that I use for my Wacom Cintiq, and as you can see, it's much thinner. I mostly have this problem with the pens because I do have a bit of a death grip, so I start to get some serious aching if I use like a really thick pen because, I don't know, I guess it just creates more pressure, but anyways, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so this is pretty neat right here. This button pulls up the settings, which I will tweak later. What is this? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, okay, so this is just to move around the canvas. I've actually never really used the side buttons because the Cintiq has a bunch as well, but for some reason, I guess I just never occurred to me to try using those, which I probably should, but yeah. So I'm just gonna pick a brush that I usually use, which is, actually, hold on, let's see. Okay, so I had to take a brief pause because I could not find any of the brush presets that I thought Photoshop came with automatically, and so I went to the website and I downloaded some brushes, and this is really confusing to me because I guess I bought the Kyle's mega pack for brushes before he partnered with Photoshop, so I had them all as presets, or I still have them all as presets on my other setup. And here it appears to be different, and I'm really not sure why. So I'm just gonna kind of roll with it and see if I can find the same brushes that I usually use. My go-to brush for everything, like sketch-wise, is usually the rough pastel. There it is, and it's definitely responding differently than in my regular setup. I'm not sure if it has anything to do with the tablet or just the settings. It's probably a settings issue, so I'm just gonna see how I don't know how I feel about this. It's pretty good overall, but like it seems to be inconsistent is what it feels like to me. Like if I make a stroke that's too light, like this should register because it's at the most sensitive setting, so that's a little bit of a problem because I actually sketch really lightly a lot of the time, so if I have to make extra effort for the under sketch, then it's just gonna tire out my hand faster. Okay, so I fumbled around with the settings in Photoshop for a while, and I decided to just do a small drawing to test some different steps of my general process that I use for digital art. And I'm just gonna go over the pros and cons overall while I speed up the footage of that little drawing in the background. The setup was super easy and simple. I was able to put it together pretty quickly, and I only needed to download the driver for the tablet. So the pros there are the straightforward and quick setup and the good and simple packaging, and one of the cons in regards to that is there are too many wires, I found. I guess that's kind of unavoidable, but I think one of the wires just wasn't quite long enough for me to be able to hook it up to the computer or the laptop on the other side, because I only have one USB outlet on each side of the laptop, and in order to use the laptop as a power supply for the tablet itself, you need to hook it up via USB cable, and unfortunately I wasn't able to do that because the cable actually wasn't long enough to reach the other side of the laptop. But that wasn't like a huge issue because you can also alternatively hook it up to straight into an outlet, so I just did that instead. But it did create an extra it did require an extra wire, so it just created a little bit more of a mess that way. To the display itself, I think it's great quality, and I don't really have anything negative to say about it. It's really thin, which is nice. The stand that it comes with is at the perfect angle, and I don't think it needs to be adjustable or anything like that. The display can also be flipped and plugged in on either the left hand or the right hand side, so whether you're left-handed or right-handed, it would work just as well either way. The pen comes with 8 extra nibs in the bottom of the case for it, and it is non-battery powered, which is great. It's very lightweight and feels pretty much the same as most other tablet pens that I've used before. However, a con there for me would be that it's a little bit too thick, although it is pretty much the same thickness as a Cintiq pen, or I guess most standard pens that come with tablet screens. I personally prefer a thinner pen. I don't understand why they make them this thick. It doesn't really make any sense to me, because I don't know, they're at least twice as thick as regular pens and pencils, so it's a little bit of a mystery. For my regular setup, I use a Cintiq, and I did have to buy a different pen for that separately, which thankfully Wacom does have on their website. So I did check the XP pen website actually, and I don't think they have anything available as an alternative to the regular pen that it comes with. So maybe that's something they might consider in the future, because I have met other people before that also think that the pens are usually too thick, and they also had to go and buy the thinner version that Wacom makes. So onto the pen settings. I think those were the menu is super simple. It's easy to figure out everything on it. I think it's pretty similar to what Wacom has also. I do think that the calibration could have been better. I did it once. Maybe if I did a couple more times it would have given a better result, but I did find that from the one time that I did calibrate the screen with a pen, I could only really use it properly from having to look at it from one angle, and if I shifted my head over to the side, it looked like there was a pretty significant discrepancy between where the cursor and the pen tip meet on the screen. So there's that, but again, that could be fixable with just extra calibration attempts, I suppose. So that would be a con, but otherwise the menu is pretty easy to use and all the other features are straightforward. I did also find that the pressure sensitivity isn't quite as accurate as with the Wacom Cintiq that I regularly use. I think that's probably to be expected. There's a reason why Wacom is preferred by most professionals. I do believe that the quality is slightly higher when it comes to pressure sensitivity, but I wouldn't put it in, like, it's not as noticeable as you'd think. Like, I'm still wondering if it was just the settings, maybe the brush settings that I was using in Photoshop weren't quite the same. It's really hard to tell. I do think that it is slightly less sensitive though. Overall, it does seem that way. So that's pretty much the last con that I have for this tablet. I think overall it's really good. I think it's a great alternative to Wacom products because it's much more affordable, and I found myself getting used to it pretty quickly actually, because I have switched my tablet a couple of times in the past and I've always found it an extremely frustrating experience because it took me a while to get used to every new screen or laptop that or tablet that I used. I usually have trouble just like tweaking all the settings and figuring out everything to get it as close to what it was like beforehand, whereas with this particular tablet screen, I actually found it pretty fast. I would say much faster than usual. I still had some trouble during this this little test drawing that I did, but overall I think if I used it for like another several days I would definitely get it to be about the same as my regular current setup. So I think it's really good in regards to that. And yeah, overall, I don't think I have anything else to say. I think it's really good. I can see how I would definitely use it if I didn't already have a setup figured out. I guess I'm mostly really used to the huge screen now, but I did work on a smaller screen closer to this X Pen tablet that I'm testing right here, and I used it for many years. And I think screen size isn't much of an issue. I think it only becomes an issue after comparison. So after I got like a really big Wacom display, that's, I think it's 22 HD, and after that I wasn't really able to go back to smaller screens, but before that I had no issues using a smaller screen. So I think the size of this tablet is really good. And yeah, so I guess my final words would be that I would definitely recommend this to anybody who wants to upgrade from a regular tablet to a tablet screen. I think this is an excellent option for that, especially if you're a student, because it's super affordable. So for anybody who wants to check out this tablet screen, I will be leaving a link in the description below. So thank you for watching this review. I really hope that you found it helpful, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!